Hello and welcome to the Happy Musicians Podcast, where it's not about getting the gig, it's about enjoying the gig. I'm your host, Tanner Guess, and this week I am joined by the incredible drummer and spiritual being, Walter Harris. Walter is an unbelievably loving person. He's a huge mentor of mine, and since moving to New Orleans has just been a wholly positive influence on me and really helped me shape how I perceive the universe in a healthy way. And I think, honestly, that this interview is the most important thing that I've shared on the podcast so far. And it's just a pleasure to get to share his words with the world. But before we do that, I want to take a second to thank the select few listeners who go out of their way to support the show, whether that be by following us on social media at The Happy Musicians, or using our hashtag Happy Musician on your post, or telling your friends and family about it, and especially those of you who rate and review the podcast, like this one from Miro Henry Sobre, that says, "I love hearing about different musicians' perspectives on how they find happiness in their music career. Fellow musicians, you gotta check this out." Thanks, Miro. Reviews and ratings are honestly the easiest, most effective way to help us grow the show and reach more people with it so that we can share this message of positivity with more viewers. All right, that's my plug for the day. This conversation is on the lengthier side, and it gets deep and profound and emotional. I think it's one of those that, at least for me, I had to pause several times and just take in what he's sharing. And I think it's impactful in the way that anything's impactful when someone has complete conviction and faith in what they're saying to be true, and does so in a way that is only about loving and supporting everyone around them. And that kind of worldview is exactly how Walter lives his life, and it's what helped him turn his life around. And you'll hear his story, but coming from living a life that was hurting a lot of people, including himself, and ending up in prison, and now living a life about loving and supporting everyone in his community and making the world a better place is just fantastic. And he offers a very practical and actionable way of getting there that's based around the idea of creative visualization, which is the mind and the power of thoughts and their ability to shape the world that you live in, which can sound super mystical and hippie and you can write it off, but I think it's at its best, it's honestly a practical way to realize your deepest desires. And at its worst, it's just a pleasant alternative to the rumination in past mistakes and what we don't like about our lives that most of us, myself included, spend the majority of the day partaking in. In our interview, we talk about his career and his journey to where he is today. We talk about the cultural and spiritual importance of Mardi Gras and the second line tradition, and how much more profound and deep it is than the party, debauchery narrative that most people identify with Mardi Gras. And we talk about lots of cool things like emotionally charging your practice and surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be like. There's just an endless amount of great things, and I can't speak enough of Walter's character and what he's done for me since I moved here, and I honestly hope you enjoy this. We get into a lot of his thoughts on religion and spirituality, and I hope that doesn't come across as offensive to anyone, but you've been warned that he does offer some takes on scripture that you might disagree with. But I think it's coming from a place of love and understanding, and I hope you enjoy. And I should say that he just walked into the door and sat down and started channeling and sharing his thoughts. And then when he was done, he was done. And so there's not much of a formal beginning or ending. And I think that is a great way to capture what it's like to be around him, because he's just on this level all the time. And the episode's entitled Music in 4D, because Walter talks a lot about how making music and living life on a fourth dimension, which maybe if we were talking to physicists, would be interpreted differently. But for the purpose of this interview, when we're talking about the fourth dimension, I think it's that feeling you get when you're in the moment and you're connected. And you feel the love, and you feel everyone around you on the bandstand, and you feel something greater than yourself. And that is an experience I think most of us have had at some point. And this is all about accessing that as much as possible and understanding what it is. So I hope you enjoy, and please help me welcome Walter Harris.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the repetition that you either develop a feeling that you want or that you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Like the repetitions of falling, makes you know that you don't want to fall. So you're going to walk and you're going to balance yourself. You know what I mean? The repetition of, great reaction will help you to continue making great causes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's the repetition the cycle of the repetition that really you want.
Yeah. So just like playing one idea over and over again, you mean, to get it
Definitely,
to feel good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Over and over and over and over until you develop the feeling of that. Mm-hmm. Develop the feeling that you want.
Right.
But it takes, that's why practice a lot of time for people is not the most pleasant time. Because first of all, you have to be by yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like being by yourself. But what makes being by yourself a gratifying time is when you're doing something that you want to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's when the two come together. The two that they talk about that meet, the two that have to agree, is you and the God in you. The I and the me have to agree when you're by yourself. That, we're going to get along, and I don't want to be bored. So that means I have to attend to something that I like, that I love, that's going to keep me, in harmony, keep me, in the great vibration.
Yeah.
And to do that, like with everything have cycle. Everything works in a cycle. What I find that helps a lot with playing these things over and over is the thoughts that you keep when you're playing them. Because you're always thinking. Mm-hmm. So you want to relate beautiful and great thoughts to whatever you're playing. Because it's, it's your creation of music. So that lick or whatever it is, you want to be able to describe it when you play it with a thought of beauty that make you feel good. Because how songs, when you listen to songs, they kind of have you to reminisce, and you kind of think every time you hear that song, you can kind of go back to this place.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing with that lick or that whatever you're playing. You want that to bring you to a place of happiness. And so when you're working on it, you want to work on it with the thought in mind of this happy place, or either the happiness you want to transmute to the audience, or whoever's the hero going to be of this music, of this creation that you bring about. Yeah. So it's up to you to create that moment, that place, while working on it, while you're in that time by yourself.
Okay, I think that's really cool. Can you give an example of a way that you do that, like for an idea that you have?
Yes. By me coming into music through church, where there's a lot of happiness and worship. Yeah. Through the Mardi Gras Indians, which is a worship moment. Through the mute jazz, second line music. So you get to see people dancing. Mm-hmm. You get to see people in their happy moment, like, in the most vulnerable time of happiness. So when you're playing, all of these happy moments, when you get to see people enjoying themselves, being in happy spirits, you hold those in your memory. Mm-hmm. And you could use those happy moments to attach to your moments, attach to the cycles or the rhythms or whatever it is that you want to play. And when you attach them to them mentally and spiritually, because when you cycle and you keep playing this, then you start feeling it. Then you're seeing it and feeling it. It become a visual and a feeling situation. You know, you can see something and you see it and you feel it, and it's like the moment is, you know, without seeing it, it wouldn't have been the same.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's like you go to the second line, you hear the music and you see the people dancing, and it's like those two events going on together that makes one.
Yeah.
You know, it's those two events together that makes this one event. Those two elements that make this one event. You do the same thing with your memory. You take those great moments and you're sitting down and you're working on a rhythm or a lick or whatever it is. And you can do the cycle of working on it. If you got it in time, tighten the cycle of working on it. You can replay these memories so that you can connect them and you start to feeling good. And when you start to feeling good about it, that's when you can transmute that feeling on other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all about what you create in your memory and being able to attach it to the beauty that already lives there. Because, you know, you could think about some things that did happen and you don't even have to be there. And boy, it make you feel so good just thinking about it. You know, you start smiling and it brightens you up. Well, that's the power of the mind.
Yeah.
You know, it could bring you joy and happiness about situations that you're not physically in, but you're spiritually in that moment. And when you could bring that and transmute it to other people, that's when your power becomes, you know, at your hand, at your fingertip. But knowing how to formulate it is basically coming, you know, with yourself. I mean, you can't do it with you can do it with other people, but you hear people talking about having a personal relationship with God. You ever hear that? Like having this personal relationship?
Yeah.
Well, that's the relationship with yourself. Because God lives with the Creator lives within you.
Yeah.
And to develop that relationship with that Creator, you have to be by yourself. It's a one-on-one situation. And it's not the easiest for everybody because they don't have that one thing that they could help them draw that love out of themselves, that creativity. You know, they live in a whole different reality. So, you know, unfortunately, everybody not able to get in that place. When they do get by themselves, they have to turn the TV on. They need something to kind of keep the momentum going because when they start to thinking, they're not very happy with their thoughts. You know what I mean? They've been programmed with some not so good thoughts.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people tend to mentally wander off to the not so happy things because it's what they see three-dimensionally. But when through music, you're able to kind of see in a different dimension. And even though things are what you see around you, you can kind of see further than that. Like have vision, like perception of what you want or what things can be. And this is what you're working towards. And when you're working towards that, you could actually see it without actually being there at the moment. And then all of a sudden you wind up being there. And not even realize, dang, I thought about this before and now I'm here.
Yeah. For sure.
You know, and that's the way it happens. But it takes being able to pull to yourself, you know, and really be happy by yourself. And, you know, when you're creating whatever it is, being able to bring that happiness that you already have from within and connect it with whatever that you're trying to connect it with. It's music, art, or visual art, or whatever it is. You have to be able to connect your personal happiness with this outer happiness that you want to transmute to humanity.
I like that. Yeah. Cool. I like that we just jumped right in. I'd like, if we can, to maybe kind of start from the top. And actually, a lot of times on the podcast, I tend not to focus on people's like specific careers and tell their story, usually because it's just already out there.
Right.
But you don't have like that information. It's not really available online. I looked. And I think it would be really fun for me. It would be a privilege to share kind of your personal story on here if you're willing to share.
As far as?
Yeah. Coming up, playing music, like what your life was like.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can share whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah. I mean, basically, this came up, you know, playing music in the church. being raised by a highly spiritual Christian family, whom were musically inclined through the church, through gospel music and all, and from that culture led to the Mardi Gras Indian culture, which gave me a whole different perspective of vibration. You know what I mean? Being amongst these people that I really didn't know, only from the neighborhood, but being able to have this one common denominator of culture, you know, and but there was a visual that was going on in that as well that I wasn't really aware of. There's a lot of things I wasn't aware of when I was younger. I was more in contact with the vibration, but I also was paying as much attention to what I was seeing, which was taking on a materialization in my life as well, which was going kind of the wrong way, the pessimistic way in life, only because of third dimension, not because of the spirituality. It's because I was following what I was seeing more or less with what I was feeling.
Yeah. Okay.
You know
Getting
what I mean?
caught up with
What I was seeing, with the worldly things, and wound up getting led off because that's a powerful entity, and wound up getting led off through the whole the drug scene and the whole thug scene, and wound up going to prison and realizing that through religion, because of course we always go back to find out the source, like what's really going on with me. Like, what am I going through here? And they had this battle of religion going on in prison with the Muslims and the Christians, right?
Okay.
And they had a few guys that were a little more versed, a little more educated and knowledgeable about the Bible than I was. But they were Muslims. And I found that strange that these Muslims knew more about the Bible than I knew. So I figured I needed to do a little bit more studying, you know, about myself and about this religion thing. And so I got off to Islam really deep, alhamdulillah, which opened me up to a lot of great discipline tactics. Beautiful way of life, Islam, I must say, alhamdulillah. And also exposed a lot of things in Christianity that wasn't real. That literally just wasn't real. And I went through this battle because I was raised in the Christian family, but now I done made this conversion of spirituality, and really wasn't a conversion of spirituality. It was just a conversion of perception, because the spirituality never changed. It's just the perception that changed. And of course, that was turmoil because I had to live with my family, but you know, we didn't see things the same. But I know these are great people. Like, it's kind of confusing when you have a different perception at things, but I was raised by these people, and I know I come to be who I am because of them, basically. So I'm, you know, kind of confused at what's going on here spiritually with them and myself, not realizing that I just got another perspective of this whole spiritual essence.
Yeah.
And
maybe where were some of the big discrepancies in how you guys saw things?
Yes. They were living on still living in the third dimensional reality. I would say almost 3.5 dimensional reality. And I always want to say fourth dimensional because I don't hear much about the fourth dimension. But it was almost like there was half and half, bouncing back and forth, which is hard because you don't really understand what's going on. You know that it's real, but you don't really know. Like, you could feel something is like going on in this invisible dimension that we hear about, and we don't really understand this mystical place.
Yeah.
And not really understanding it and knowing that it's real. Though I know it's real, but I don't understand what's going on, and they don't understand what's going on. But it's something in here that's working. Like something is working, like that's keeping us afloat here. That's but something is missing. Something is working, but something is missing. So within this prison term, I got to read this book that I missed to mention by this author named James Allen. And the name of the book is As a Man Thinketh. And this book was an astonishing piece of literature because it actually make you responsible. And it tells you your responsibility for your reality. And it takes off, it eliminates the devils and all these other entities that guide you. Unforcibly. And it is a force there, but the force is not as powerful as we give it. As much power. It doesn't have as much power as we give it. But we don't really understand that power because it's kind of been stripped away for reasons, of course.
And that power being
decision.
Okay.
The power of decision.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're obviously leading into that, but that's definitely kind of one of the main things I'm excited to have you on the show about is this concept and way of life that you have that allows you to realize the things that you want through decision and focused attention and creative visualization. And it's all really exciting because it's a means of discovering and realizing something I talk about a lot on the show, which is knowing what you want,
right,
and making that happen.
Right. And also knowing who you are.
Yeah.
When I spoke about the decision, knowing who you are and that, the power is in the decision that you make. Even though you're given these options, visually you're given these options and knowing what options to take and what options not to take. And understanding the ones that you see are not the options to take. And it's kind of hard to not take an option that's seen more or less than the option that's not seen. Because the things that I didn't see was the things that were the furthest away. Or they feel like they're the furthest away because it's more of a dream. Yeah. More or less than what's tangible. Not realizing that what's tangible was only tangible because at one time it was a mental thought.
Okay. So to break that down, meaning you have opportunities in your life that are fairly short-term but available to you. And you have long-term goals that aren't immediately available. But you're saying that at one point your short-term opportunities that you have right now were goals visible in the past that you have realized.
Right. They're visible. The short-term ones are visible. The long-term ones are not visible in your reality. They're visible in other reality, but not in yours.
Okay.
If that make any sense.
Kind of. When you say a different reality, what exactly are you saying?
What I'm saying is, at one time, playing on the stage for thousands of people was not reachable. It only was reachable in my mental. Not realizing that it was drawing me, the more I kept it in my mental, it was drawing me closer to it in my reality.
Okay.
And what happens is, when it seems far away, they have so many other temporary things in between there that it always cuts you off from the long-term goal.
Yeah.
Because, you have to keep that energy high on the things that's foreseen for them to become reality. But in between that time, you have so much going on, distraction, that it's easy to get distracted.
Yeah.
Here, 3-dimensional. It's only for those that can hold their dreams at a high vibration that get to reach them.
Okay, and I like that phrase. I'm hoping you can explain a little bit more. Hold them at a high vibration.
Yes. At
What?
a high vibration, which means keeping them real in your mental.
Okay.
High vibration means basically always seeing it there, knowing it's there, even when it's not there. Basically, faith.
Yeah.
To sum it up, the word faith.
Okay.
Believing in the unknown, believing in the unseen, the intangible. Keeping the vibration high, knowing that the possibility of it being there is there. Like it's there. Once you think about it and you want it, it's there. It's just a matter of you keeping that energy high and materializing it.
Right.
It's very mystical, but it's real.
Yeah.
It's just that you have to believe in it, but it's a lot that go with that because you have to have the essence of love and compare all these other great principles that go along with it. It's just not that. And this is why I think what keeps people away from that power, because it's the simple things like love and compassion and these other great principles that we're given that people kind of take for granted. It's taken for granted. You'll flip somebody off in a minute if they cut you off not thinking about it, which is a lack of love.
Yeah.
It's just something that you have to be on continuously to get the results. It's not like you just turn this off and on. And this is what happens in life. We be sweet at 1 minute, and the next minute we mad, we angry, we talking about this one, or we gossiping about that. And we have to realize these energies and how we play in them all through the day. This is not something that you just think about on Sundays. This is a lifestyle that every day you have to be careful about what you think about, because your thoughts become reality.
Yeah. Okay. There's like a multitude of great things you've said, and I'm hoping we can kind of parse through them and break them down. And maybe we could go back to your introduction to this. The book was As a Man Thinketh. Is that what
Right.
it is? And so how was that your first exposure to this idea that
Yes.
that your thoughts can manifest in your reality?
Yes.
Okay. And then I guess, did you start some kind of practice every day working on this, or what was the progression of your
At that
relationship with this?
At that point, I started re-engineering my life.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
So I went back to find out what happened
Okay.
and what was I putting my attention on, and what was I, allowing my energy to go to that brought me to that point. And then I seen like the things I was entertaining the most, that brought me to that point. And so after re-engineering it, I went back and changed the program, basically.
Yeah.
I just had to go back and change the program.
And the program being
The
what
thoughts,
you're focusing on.
the thoughts I was keeping, the focus, the vocabulary, the posture, everything. I mean, it was a total change. The walk, facial expression, all of this plays a part in it. It's a whole change.
Kind of going through bit by bit of how you live each aspect of it and trying to get it in line with your new
Yes.
greater goal.
Yes.
And so for you, was the important part to first figure out like what the greater goal was?
What the greater goal was.
And so what at the time was your greater goal?
Music.
Okay.
I was in prison.
Yeah.
So through the music, I was able to, first of all, I had to change all these other principles about myself. And then once I started to focus on that, I was granted this opportunity to join the prison band, which is a step up in prison, because to be in a prison band, you have to be a trustee.
Okay. What does trustee mean?
Trustee mean that you're trusted. I mean, you've spent enough time and showed that you're an honorable prisoner, that you can be trusted to do duties amongst civilians.
Okay.
without trying to escape, or you have a good record in prison, basically.
Okay.
So they allow you to do things outside of the prison without being chained up, or you know being behind gunpoint, anything of that nature. So
Okay.
basically, you just kind of an honorable prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
So I became an honorable prisoner and was able to travel within the region to play for these different festivals and all.
Yeah.
So I was able to start using my music ability through vibration then.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, it just got better and better and better. I got better at thinking. I got better at making decisions. I got better at love. I got better at compassion. And all of this just got better and better and brought me to where I'm at now.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And so maybe trying to get as specific as you can, how did you go about like doing that? As in, what did it look like when you were thinking? What exactly were you thinking about? And how long of a process was this?
I didn't actually time it. Um,
Or I guess like not like each session, more like the ongoing process, like how many years or.
oh, it started in 91, this process. I would say 92. And I left there in 96 from prison.
Mm-hmm.
And from prison, I came home, continued the music, but wound up getting more over to the cultural Mardi Gras Indian culture, which basically I was using these cultural events to keep me busy, basically. Basically to surround myself around people that were engaged in something productive culturally,
Yeah.
and that had some essence that was connected with self. And it worked.
Surrounding yourself with those kind of people.
Yes. And it basically was just people that were geared towards one focus, one goal.
Mm.
We all had one thing in common. Now, all of us were different people. Probably wouldn't even hang out that much if we wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
But these guys were not, they were Indians, Mardi Gras Indian, cultural guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about scholars or, of any supernatural great importance to humanity, as far as, they would see it, but of cultural, regional importance to humanity. Something that most people probably wouldn't even think is important, but bring a great essence to the city, to the cultural, and into the culture of African Americans. Once I got amongst these guys that understood that and played in, essence of keeping the culture alive and of celebrating the culture, it was another focus point. And also, which bring about discipline, which is very big in this journey of life that we are partaking in. Being disciplined about whatever it is you take on. Because like I said, there's a lot of distraction out here.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to stay disciplined is not always the easiest thing.
Yeah.
It's only once you see the results, once you start to see the results of these disciplines, that makes them more attractive and more joyful to partake in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, especially like New Orleans, there's so much distraction. There's like so many vices that people are throwing at you just walking down the street, like you're surrounded by it.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it even valuable here, places like here, because they have an essence of value, but there's so much distraction that if you can fight the distraction, then you can get the pot of gold. You know what I mean? Like if you can fight through the distraction, then there's a gift waiting on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so you play with the Pres Hall All-Star Band, touring band.
Yes.
Is that like a specific goal you had in mind? Or when you say that like your goal was music and you were thinking about this and manifesting it, how specific was your goal? Like, did you have it written down in a certain way of like, this is what I'm trying to do?
Yes. I specifically say I wanted to be a part of an organization, no specific organization, just an organization that everybody wanted to play music on a professional level, like on a grand level with a system.
Meaning some kind of structure, which...
Big structure, like a system. You know, it takes systems. Like the world is built up on systems. And any dysfunctional system, you could tell a dysfunctional system.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're so visible. I wanted to be part of a functional system, a high functional system that wanted to transmute music at a high level to a grand capacity of people.
Yeah.
I want to play big concerts, man. I want to be part of this big music industry, basically.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I didn't have a specific genre. It wasn't like I need to play it, I need to play it, I need to play it. Because I played country music. I played all kind of music. In fact, in prison, it was a country band that I played in.
Okay.
So I have experience playing country. It really wasn't about a specific type of music. I just wanted to be connected to people through music. I wanted to be part of an organization that made people feel great. That when they come, when they left, they felt great. And I was a part of it. And, keeping that focus alive, knowing that it was to come, it came.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because that's that's exactly what Preservation Hall seems like to me. It's totally an organization.
Yes.
And there's a system to it. I mean, they play 5 shows a night. Yes. They have over 50 musicians that are in this rotating lineup. Yes. The touring band, all the structure to it.
Foundation.
Yeah, a community of people, professionals, that's all there, which is really cool. And so how long did you have that goal in your mind, and what did your daily practice of manifesting that, or the visualization that you were doing about that goal, look like?
Well, we have these principles that we live by daily, that we were given through all our doctrines of religion. I'm not really highly religious anymore, but I still have a high respect for religion because I know what it's geared for. And if it's followed the way that it should be, you get the most out of any one of them. But all of them are equally great. But there's these core principles that all of them carry.
Yeah.
And which are esoteric. Basically like the golden rules. They do unto others as, and these rules come with principles. And some of us are taught them, are kind of drilled into these principles. And some of us are kind of, kind of lax to find them out for ourselves. Seems like the ones that are lax kind of find them out quicker than the ones that are drilled. Because when you're drilled, it's kind of like you're really reluctant to use the things that's drilled in. You have to go back and find them. But the people who are not drilled into these principles kind of naturally flow into them, I find.
Yeah.
Because I was drilled into these principles and wound up, going the opposite way.
Yeah. Well, you got the information when you wanted it.
Yes. It was in there. It's just that I didn't use it.
Yeah. Because
of distraction.
Right.
But I have butted that it went the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it seems like even in anything when you're trying to teach music to someone, like you're trying to show them a certain type of music that they aren't interested in, they don't really pick it up because they aren't ready for that. Someone who has to find these principles on their own is asking these questions, eager to find the answer. And then when it presents itself, or they find that universal truth, or however you want to put it, maybe it's more impactful than just being told it in a pithy, one sentence explanation of a very deep, fundamental truth.
Right. A given from one perspective. You know what I mean? And that's enough to kind of deter a person when one thing is given to them from one perspective, like it got to be done this way. This is the way. You know, it's kind of, because some of these things I don't really agree with. I don't really feel that way about that. Those 5 I'm cool with, but that right there is not. Almost like like the Christian faith. A lot of people, the women are really cool with it until they get to the part that say, women, the wife must be submissive to the husband.
Okay.
The things that most women like gotta be submissive to the husband. Like, why the husband have to be submissive to the wife? Like, it's kind of biased, not really understanding. That's just a parable. It's not really an earthly statement.
Right.
It's said like that for you to understand it. But really, it's all about the mind. It has nothing to do about the earthly woman or the wife. It has nothing to do with that. But when you hear it, it kind of make you feel kind of like that's coming from God. If you're looking at it on a 3-dimensional level, reading it 3-dimensional, you like, God is kind of masculine, but chauvinistic. When really, it's not a chauvinistic system. It's an impersonal system.
Yeah.
And I was just saying that to say that religions have a way of making things seem have a way of making things seem in a way that wouldn't be earthly desirable in some cases. If that make any sense. Like the case what I just spoke about, the husband and wife situation. It could be a turnoff for some people, even though they believe the other part. Not realizing that they really do believe that part, they just don't understand it.
Right. Okay, so are you saying that some of these, well, we'll go with the term you've been using, like 4th-dimensional ideas,
Right.
sometimes are put in words in like a 3-dimensional context.
Yes.
But then the 4th-dimensional part is lost.
Exactly. Which could be a turnoff. And which I think, for me, kept me kind of wobbly in the religion base until I understood it from a broader, and then I understood that all of them were right. They're just speaking in different terms, in different parables.
Well, that right there is kind of maybe my overarching criticism of music school, is that there's all these things that are talked about that go into music that are talked about in 3-dimensional ways to explain it, but this overarching 4th-dimensional thing isn't reinforced often enough as the major goal behind all of these 3-dimensional actions that make it up.
Yes.
That then I'll be on gigs where, like, my goal these days is to really try to access this 4th-dimensional feeling of existence, you know? And people are so caught up in the 3-dimensional things, and I am all the time too. I have to remind myself. But on the bandstand, when you can feel that thing, I think that you talked about at the very beginning, or of those people in your life who you were on a 3-dimensional level and not on the same level that you were at. Like, that happens on the music stand too. Of the end goal.
It does.
Caught up in these 3-dimensional things of, oh, I'm playing this lick that's really cool. Like how great are all these notes, or just stuck on the chord changes, or all these things, and not thinking about the big picture.
Right. And the big picture on the bandstand for me, and that's why the whole genre thing kind of faded for me, because the big picture is coming together with these group of people to make those people feel good. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a service. It's almost like going to church. We come for something. They come for something. And a lot of them don't even realize what they come for. But they come to be healed. It's a spiritual healing through vibration. We all are healed through vibration. And when they come out, they enjoy the music because they enjoy the vibe. That's why they move. They vibrate because they are they call it resonating to the vibration. That's where the dancing comes from, the smiling. It's a resignation of feeling good. But you're better able to make them feel good when you know what you're doing. when you go in there with those intentions, see, now I go with those intentions,
Yeah.
knowing what I'm going to do, especially if everybody else is in the same. And then you can kind of work it with the whole band. Like, boy, we're going to have a good one tonight, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, we're going to blah, blah, blah. Kind of like talk towards having a great time. More or less than talking about, man, you seen the news last night? Man, all them people, man, that's a doggone shame. And then you going on this downward spiral. And then when you get on the bandstand, you're going to transmute that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go from that to, man, you Russian. Man, look. And then now you're looking at all the negative, pessimistic stuff coming from.
And three-dimensional stuff.
And three-dimensional stuff. Because you're not really in control of your thoughts. But when you're in control of your thoughts and you know that, all right, well, we know we're here for one another. And what I'm going to do is not just for me. So I need to be in the right state of mind, the right state of spirituality, the right state of being, so that when I go to perform these vibrations or bring these vibrations, they could be in harmony with everybody else. And when I look out to the crowd, the people happy because they're receiving it right. Mm-hmm. And the night goes great. Because that's what it really all about. All the other stuff is bullcrap. It really is. I'm talking about it's just a facade.
Yeah. Well, okay, that is all so cool. And I love that, how you explained it. And there's something so special about Preservation Hall that I think helps in creating that space where you're able to transmute that energy and that vibration. And that's that it's like strictly enforced that no one has their phones out.
Yes.
And I love going and hearing you at Pres Hall. One, because it's great to see you play and the band sounds awesome, but it's the only place I ever go to now where there aren't screens out. Awesome. And everyone's actually attentive to the moment and existence for 1 second.
Right.
And it's so funny because I don't even know if the people leaving realize it, but you can tell that everyone that leaves has had an experience that they haven't had before. And I think most of them, it seems like, are like, oh, the music was just so amazing. But I think part of it was just that everyone was focused on one thing.
Yes.
In a small space, and that energy is so special. Oh.
Yes. The energy is so condensed in that one space within those walls. And people don't really understand, like, it was so much that went on within those walls before we even got here. Mm-hmm. The world was going through a hell of a time at one time with racism. And a lot of that was dissolved within those walls. Like, the first place that, we were able to like really enjoy playing music together was in Preservation Hall, where blacks and whites were able to really enjoy playing together. And having that energy of the force of making that come about there, it never left. The energy don't leave. It remains right there in those walls. And that's what's a lot of people don't really even get. That energy still remains there. And when you go there, you're just basically walking into this saturated place of all this great energy, of all these great, beautiful, loving, compassionate people that then came through there and put so much time into, the world. The world. I mean, when you're thinking about equality in the world, it went on there. And it's still going on.
Yeah.
I can go there and connect with people I've never seen before. Just go hug people and have people just in tears, sitting there in tears and don't even know what happened. I know what happened. Yeah. And it's good when you know what happened, but it's even better when you feel it and you experience it because it feels good. And just to know that, it's of God, it's of my creator. It's an essence of me that I connected with that made me feel good and I want it again. But only way you know how to get it again is to know what happened.
Yeah.
And it's all just a spiritual transmutation because we take on the spirituality of each other.
Meaning,
we transmute vibration.
Okay. And
If you come into my world, I can make you feel what I feel, good or bad.
Yeah.
When you come into my world, if I'm in control of my world, if I have that much dominance over it, I can make you feel what I feel. If not, if you can't take it, you're gonna leave. And I done seen some people do that.
And
They get up and they just leave.
yeah,
For whatever reason, they might say the music ain't good, whatever it is. No, your vibration just not agreeing with it. And I don't feel bad or offended when they do it, when they leave. I just understand that they couldn't take it. They couldn't take the love because that's all we got to give. And some people just sit there and they just look and they just leave off. Some people never even realize they left because they be so in the moment. And you have to see it from where I see it, like from the front, and watch the people. And knowing like the intentions, and watch them. And watch the band and watch the people and watch that transmutation. And some people you see do this. They just fall under a trance. No matter what going on, they be under trance. And you be like, and you know they never been here before. It's a strange place.
Yeah.
But to fall in a trance in a strange place, sitting on the floor, is very powerful.
Yeah.
And you could do it anywhere. I did it on the corner by Rouse's before with Doreen. Yeah, this energy, I mean, we carry this out ourselves. But when you have buildings, like these places, like they talk about haunted houses and all these, that hold these energies, yeah, these buildings could hold the energies in them when it was a powerful energy. And if you go in there and if you are, depending on, where you at with that energy, if you'll be able to take it or not. Because some places you go, you're like, I don't like this energy. I got to get out of here. I know you done had that happen before. The energy not right. I got to get out of here. It don't feel good in here. You have to leave. And that's good, especially if you know what side you're on. And you go someplace, you be like, man, I could just, like sometimes I go to the hall and I finish, I can't leave. Sometimes I don't even have a gig and I just wind up there.
Yeah.
Because the energy is so great.
Right.
That I'm just wind up at the hall. Like, man, what's up with you? You got a gig? Nah, bro, I'm just hanging out. Go get some coffee, some more. Just want to be there because that energy just feel good. And understanding energy will guide you too. And allowing it to guide you.
Right.
Understanding and trusting in your energy to magnetize you to the right energy. That's trusting the God in you. That's going to magnetize you right to where you want to be and where you need to be. That's if everything up here is going right.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's going to attract you to where you need to be, and it's not going to be the right place for you. But your mental will attract you to its likeness, even if it's not good.
Yeah. What you had said about getting into what your daily practice looks like and these principles that are brought up in all religions that you kind of live by. How do you go about, and more talking these days, kind of living the life the way that you want to? Are there certain affirmations or things that you do, or how much meditation or visualization time is there? Just what your routine is in that sense.
My routine in the morning is basically I wake up in the morning and I make my bed. I learned from this guy, Quick. I can't think of his first name. He's an Asian influenced guy. and he spoke about completing one of the first completions he do in the morning. First of all, he get up and he thank God for giving him life. Then he makes his bed, because that's one of the first things he can complete that morning. And my grandmother was big on making the bed first in the morning. I never really connected it, but being able to complete the first thing early in the morning, like right after waking up, really gives me a good start, because that's my first completion and it's done. And from that point, I drink me some water, replenish myself, and I may eat or not before meditation. But I like to get maybe 30 minutes of meditation, and from 15 to 30 minutes of meditation, normally like 30 minutes in the morning of meditation. Yeah. And my whole day is basically of meditation. I could probably be a little extreme because of my personality. I mean, we all have similar addictive personalities, that we could be addicted to certain things that we like. And just to maintenance my addictive personality, I'm a bit extreme with the things I do. I read a lot, and sometimes I'm reading all the time, because this new audiobook situation that we have is just gives you the room to read all the time, even while driving. So I spend a lot of times under lectures of a lot of my mentors, and just always programming, basically. I stay in a constant programming phase with myself.
Like reinforcing the things that you want.
Yes. I know what I want, and I keep that forth, because I know what the results is. See, when you know the formula, it kind of helps you to formulate it better, to have a better day. One thing I learned is expectancy is big. The things you expect are very big.
Okay.
So every day I expect to have a good day on purpose, because I'm in control of that day. Nobody else controls my day. Now, they have some things that happen during the day that I might not agree with. May not make me the happiest, but I've learned how to find the equivalency of greatness within anything that's not so great, because there's a lesson in everything. And learning that there's a lesson in everything. I learned not to be so angry when things happen that I wouldn't permit. I just learned how to learn from it, and learning how to be in control of my emotions have helped me a lot. I daily work on that. And being compassionate and understanding helps you, and also not being opinionative. These are the things I work on daily, because these are the things that can draw you out of your godliness.
Yeah. Okay. I think maybe the last one you said is one that I struggle with the most, is being opinionative. Especially sometimes I feel like, or I guess I'm forming a very particular way that I want to live, that I feel like is healthy and that works for me.
Right.
And it's hard to be in situations where I'm surrounded by a lot of energies that don't really line up with that.
Right.
And to not have this opinion of like, this is not a good situation,
Right. Well, realizing that we're all on the same journey together, we had different places. And I can remember being not as desirable of a person as I am now for myself. I like myself much better now than I did then. However, I love myself much better now than I did then. However, I understand what I was going through then.
Mm.
I understand my thought pattern then and why I was thinking that way and what led up to it. Not understand it better. It helps me to understand what other people are going through and why they do what they do. For the lack of knowledge and the lack of wisdom, people perform in the way they perform and they act the way they act. It's not because they want to. It's because it's all they have. Really, it's the only experience that they really can really have at that point with the knowledge that they have. You know, you're only able to do as much as you're given, so to say. Like, you're only able to do as much as you given the knowledge to do.
Mm.
Um,
And then, like, everyone's doing the best they can.
Everybody's doing the best they can with the knowledge that they have. I'm gonna say that. I run across a lot of people say they can't meditate, not realizing they meditate every day. It's just, you know, the way they meditate, they call it worry.
Yeah, they're meditating
on
ruminating on
negative situations, pessimism, not realizing that you do know how to meditate. You just have to change the perception of the things that you keep on your mind.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think, you know, if people are skeptical about the whole creative visualization thing, you know, at the far end, it's like this thing that you could realize your biggest dreams ever. At its worst, it's a much better alternative to ruminating on everything you regret in the past or what could go wrong in the future.
Yes. Not realizing that you're going to bring that even more.
Yeah.
You know, the more you think about it, or even say that you don't want it, makes it come more. And understanding this with the people that you engage with every day helps you to have more compassion. Just understand that they don't know. And it hurts because you to see people, especially that you love, keep going through this over and over and over. And they just don't get it. And that's they tell you, man, I can't win for losing. He'd be like, oh my God, you didn't just say that again. And you realize, and you're wondering why you keep going through what you go through, because you can't win for losing. And you can't see it. And you keep saying it, not realizing that your words have power. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
How much power the things I say have, that I bring them into existence just by speaking them. People don't even realize that. And they speak themselves into turmoil and poverty and just an undesirable life. And understanding myself helped me to understand you and everybody else better. And that's what helps me to not be so opinionative about the things other people do, because I understand why they do it.
Okay.
I understand exactly why they do it. And a lot of times they just haven't been taught better. They haven't taken out the time to learn better. They haven't came across the right material, because it's here. It's always been here. It's just that you have to search for it.
Yeah.
And when you come to searching for it, then you find it. You know, it's not the easiest, but it's here. And that is one of the practices I practice daily, is understanding myself, which helps me to understand myself, which is you and everybody else that's walking around. We all are the same. We all are one. It's just that we all have different perceptions of that one. And some of us understand it. That's why we can come together as one. But the ones that don't understand it see us all as being separate. And that's why they keep themselves detached from the power.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't need them. I don't need nobody. I can do that. I don't need, that attitude is we need each other. We need each other so much. Like, yeah, we need to be amongst each other. I want to be around. Have you ever been in the second line?
Yeah.
You have?
I've done one. I'd like to do
All right,
get
we're
more
gonna do another
involved
one. Let's
in
do
it.
another one together.
Yeah.
Because I want to show you something.
I would love to do that.
They don't even understand what be going on at the second line. The people, they just know they got to go because I feel good. And the energy level at the second line be so so high that they never get it. I mean, you have to watch the people and the things they do by that high-fi energy. They climb houses, man.
Yeah.
They have guys built top of houses. They walk on the bridges, like up as far as they want to go, and they dance. I mean, they roll on the ground. This energy is so high-fi that, you know, and if you in it and understand it, boy, it's like you could feel it. Like you could feel the energy of the music and the people dancing, the happiness, like the laughter and just the joy. Bro, it is one of the biggest batteries, moving batteries that you could ever encounter. It's a big energy force that
Well, I just
it's inexplicable.
Yeah.
You have to be in it, and then you still can't explain it because it's music driven. And this is another thing: the people, these people that's there. How could I say this? A lot of poverty-stricken people. That quote unquote corporate or your dignified people probably wouldn't even want to be around on a daily basis. I'm sorry, bro.
No. Yeah.
I get like that sometimes, you know. A lot of these people don't understand what be going on, but they're able to come together and be happy and really enjoy this energy amongst each other. And to be amongst that is inexplicable.
Yeah.
Because these are people that don't really understand what's going on.
Right.
But they have these events so that they can enjoy the greatness of life and enjoy this energy that we understand. And we can go to Preservation Hall, we can go to any place and like really just gravitate off this energy. But everybody can't do that. And so they have these little pockets of culture that delivers this energy to them. You know, you call it second line, you call it rah-rah, you call it Brazilians. I mean, every culture have them. Every culture, Zydeco.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have all these little different pockets of genre,
Yeah.
culture that people can go and they get in this high vibration of spirituality amongst each other. And it fuels them, it gives them fuel for like weeks. Like they don't even realize it, but they be talking about these events and they be feeling, you know, and it keeps them fueled. Like church.
Yeah.
You know, and like these other cultural events be a little extra because church is something people do every day, but these other events be outside of church and they be even more powerful. In a lot of cases, because I didn't been to both, you know, the church could be really powerful. But see, on the outside of church, when you could be yourself and you ain't got to have this facade, you know, you can have your little drink, a little smoke, and you could be yourself. Boy. Then you get to see people at their best.
Yeah.
You get to see humans at their best because then they don't have to facade for nobody. They could be who they want to be and they can love openly.
Yeah.
You see people happy, you know, they're loving. That's love coming out of them freely without being judged. And it's one of the beautiful events to see is the second line. You know, the club, they dress up pretty, you know, the club, whoever giving it, you know, they wear these outfits that they save up all year to wear.
Yeah.
And they build this energy. They build the energy about the parade.
Yeah.
And the day of the parade, bro, Lord have mercy. But when you understand from a esoteric point of view what's going on, you have to go in the corner, man.
Yeah.
You have to go in the corner and weep it out and understand it and go back and have fun.
Mm-hmm. Man, I've heard groups of drums called a battery before, and had always interpreted it as like, the batter head of a drum is the one that you hit in that sense. But hearing you explain it like that is like literally it's the battery for like existing. You're charging up people's energy.
Yes.
That's a really cool way to think about it.
Yeah, the energy is, man, it's and when we could build it up from our human being, because it's the spiritual being in us that's really building this energy through this body that we wear.
Yeah.
And when you can stir up and develop that energy with a group of beings, and you could feel that and then transmute that to all these other people that resonate, because we got the batter head, we have the resonate head that resonate. But when when you have this instrument and you send out the vibration, they become the batter, the resonating head. And they resonate through dancing.
Yeah.
And movement and joy and laughter and and this is a relationship we have with each other. Or it can resonate the other way. You put a boot on your face, you can look mean and go out there and then people gonna look back at you, and then before you know it, they got to fight because the energy wasn't right. What you looking at?
Yeah.
Or you can go the other way. We have control over that.
Yeah.
And we have control. And you might be having fun and somebody looking crazy. You just have to look away and not even pay attention to them. Not even get that. Don't even give that energy no attention because it's there and it exists. But it doesn't exist until you give it attention. It doesn't have any fire until you give it attention. And once you give that attention off, there it is. You didn't awaken the monster. But but it's all about it's all in terms of energy, basically, and understanding your part and what you can do to escalate that energy. And when you learn where you play at in that energy force, then you could better intensify your energy to go along with whatever group you with. Whatever band or whatever guy, whatever it is, you can have your energy at a high rate, whereas that you can be of high resignation. You can make a difference to a situation. You always want to be, make a difference in a good way. You ever had somebody around, every time they be around, it's like, oh man, here this dude come.
Yeah.
No, you don't want that. They don't even understand. But you understand, and you always want to be on the opposite. You always want to be, oh man, here come Tanner, man.
Yeah.
You want them to be happy. Like
Right.
when they see you, because you always bring this great vibration. We the only ones that can decide if we bring that vibration or not. We in total control. We're in total control. We are the gods, basically. I couldn't say that to everybody or anybody, but we are the gods. We in control of what go on here because we the ones that bring the vibration. When I say gods, that's small g. But we are the ones that's brought here. The Jesus they talk about that people don't really understand, that's us. That's us. We are the gods brought down in flesh.
Meaning that like each of us has the ability to.
Each of us are playing out that whole Bible verse, the whole Bible. We play that out in our lifetime. The Bible is basically talking mental. It's a book of mentalism. Everybody in the Bible basically is us.
Different shades of our character.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Beautiful book when you understand it. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's it. Everybody portrayed as, like a history, like all these people existed in. It's a big facade. We are here. We are the cross. This is your cross right here. The cross is actually your body. That's the physical cross
Okay.
that you have to bear. It's not easy because here on earth, you have these energies that you have a decision which one you're going to entertain. That's the cross. Bearing the cross you have to bear is, Lord, I'm gonna bear this life. These choices I have to make. This one to make me feel good, but this one I have to wait to, them decisions, making the right one. That's the cross. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
And being able to do the right thing, get the right results, be happy, make everybody else happy. This is what it's all about, bro. We all here for one another, basically. And we have to really understand that. Independently, we're here for one another. So independently, we have to be thinking about humanity, what we can do to be better, to make each other better, make myself better for you. Like we all working this hand in hand. I'm here for you, so you could be here for them, because this is for the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to go to bed last night after coming in working on this stuff, like preparing for this, because we all here for one another, bro.
Yeah.
And until we see it that way, we keep cutting ourselves off from the energy source.
Right.
I mean, the battery is when we all together. That's when the cells are all together. The more cells you have in the battery, the more powerful the battery is.
Yeah. The waves amplify each other.
Yes. So it's just understanding that, we're not doing this by ourselves. But individually, you have to maintain your own power and your own vibration. So that when you do connect it with the rest of the battery, it just makes it that much more powerful. And you have to be careful of the rest of the battery you connect it with, because you want to make sure that they energizing too on the same circuit. So that when y'all do come together, it's a force.
Yeah.
When I come together with those guys, it's a force. Because I was particular about the people I dealt with. The people I deal with, I'm particular about.
Yeah.
If they're not there, if they can't talk like this, a lot of my friends, I can't talk to them because they can't go here. And I can't connect with nobody that can't connect here, bro. It's not worth it. It's better for me to connect with people here so that the ones that don't get it could possibly get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through me being with other people that get it, they'll probably be able to see it and say, oh, now I get it. But I'm not able to give it if I'm hanging with a bunch of dead cells. So it's very important that you surround yourself with people that's of the same likings, of the same aspirations, of the same energy force.
Yeah.
Yeah. It ain't got to be the same religion or the same. It's got to be the same energy force. Big difference.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of one of my main goals that I'm still trying to get to a place where I'm surrounded by all those people.
Right. But all you have to do, guess what? All you have to do is just keep being who you are. Because you magnetize to them. They magnetize to you. You don't go find them. They find you.
Okay.
Yeah. I just be who I am, and just these kind of things just happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely how we met.
Yeah. Yeah. All you have to do is just keep being who you are. And they say birds of a feather flock together. Yeah. It's like a magnetism that happens.
Yeah.
You just have to be 100% who you are. And the people around you will tell you who you are. Because if you're around a bunch of jackasses, you have to be careful of who you are. You better see, if you got 3 or 4 people around you that's not cool, you have to question the things you're doing that have these people around you.
Yeah.
So if you got a lot of great people around you, feel good about it, because that means you're doing something great. You know what I mean? Because great people don't want to be around not great people. They magnetize the people who they feel are as great as themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all we have to do is just continue maintenance in our own greatness. And greatness is magnetized to you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. It's proven, it's guaranteed, basically. It's just, this formula has never been broken. It can't be. It can't be. It's like gravity. Like you cannot defy gravity.
Yeah.
And the same thing with this formula, with this way of life. You can't defy it. It's just the way it is. It's the other side. It's the equivalent of the other side. And that's what keep it balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, through reading, I come to find out that, because I know that humanly, we're kind of outnumbered a little bit.
Meaning?
Energy-wise. Energy, like it's not like an equal amount of humans with equal, it's not like equal like that. Like good humans, bad humans, they equal it out. Mm-hmm. We have all kind of other beings that play.
Okay.
A part of this equivalency of this great energy. Like we have plant life that has no other choice but to adhere to the word, to adhere to the creator. A plant can't do nothing but be beautiful. A rose can do nothing but be a rose. It can't have I could be a cactus or a rose.
Yeah.
So it has to. The whales and the dolphin, all these great animals, that all this great energy. Why you think they preserving these animals and they, have these laws? Because they have an energy that's helping to balance us off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of this greatness of God, man, all these trees, that balance off the carbon dioxide. All of this stuff helps to balance off this whole system. Everything plays a part in the system. That's why we have to be very careful about it. It'd be hard for me to kill an ant. I have to really come into one with nature before I can kill an ant pile, because that's a living organism that's here for a reason. They overpopulate it. Sometimes they just pop up when we don't want them.
Yeah.
But it's a living organism that plays a part here. Sometimes you don't understand, what's the use? The energy, they have an energy that you might not understand. But they're here for a reason. You have to respect it. And when we come to respect life and energy like that for everything, it gets better. And then you stop being so punitive. And then you can see things, you understand them better. You can love better. Because a baby. Most people are like babies. They just don't know. A baby make a mistake. All you can do is just love them anyway. And say, you can't do that, baby. You gotta, you teach them.
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot of grown babies, man. And you have to love them, have compassion for them. And hope, and you just can't teach them, but you'd have to have compassion for them. Babies, you could teach them. Grown people, you just have to love them and pray for them.
Yeah.
And it helps keep your energy high, because now you're not mad and angry because they didn't. That don't make no sense. You grown. You should know this. They don't know. They grown, but nobody probably ain't taught it to them. They probably can't read. We don't know what the situation is, but we know that they don't know. And all we can do is pray for them, love them, and move on. We can't spend too much time and energy being angry at them. You know what I mean? Like you can spend maybe 10 minutes flipping somebody all mad, stupid motherfucker. All that space they got over there. Look, on the phone. Look, all that energy you spend there, they on the phone, they probably don't even get it. They don't even realize how reckless you're going about your business. Pray for them, just wish they get it. You can't spend too much energy on somebody else that, when really they just don't get it. For whatever reason. You got it. You just have to be happy you got it, and be aware and conscious. And, do as much as you can to help the rest of humanity get it.
Yeah.
Put as much into this system so that we can keep it continuously going. But you don't want to fall off being mad at this one, or fall off being, because we fall off like that daily. I do it from time to time, but being aware of it, I do it much more less than ever.
Yeah.
Way less. But there are times I'd be like, man, I gotta go around this dude riding in the passing lane on the telephone. Boy. I have to go. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but just observing it. Observing that it happened, observing where I'm at with it, I move on. And it helps you to understand and not be so angry. And it makes your day much better. Because you're not angry. You're not mad at nobody. You're understanding, you're more compassionate, and you're more loving. A bunch of great principles that we're given for free, and we don't use them enough to get the benefits out of them. Compassion. I mean, free love. You ain't got to pay nothing for it. All you got to do is just give it.
Yeah.
You can give a smile. You could you could just let somebody pass, stop and just let them go. That's love. Thinking about the other person. These small things that we don't even think about, man. After you do it, you feel so good. You ever just got out your car and go help? The dude on the corner. Man, every time I leave, I give most of my tips away to the guys that's sitting on the thing. I feel way better giving it to them than going home with it.
Yeah.
I feel better giving it to them than going home with it. Whatever they do with it, they ask for it because they need it. For whatever reason. If they need a drink, if that drink gonna make them feel better, all I want to do is make you feel better. I don't have no control over what make you feel better. If it's gonna make you feel better, here, bro. I'm not about to be battling myself. I ain't you want me to be drinking all of it. I ain't got to do with all that. If it's gonna make you feel better, bro, whatever it is, whatever I could do to make you feel better, that's what I want to do. But me not giving it to you is not gonna make you feel better.
Yeah.
The man on the corner, he don't want to be out there begging. Believe me, he don't want to be out there in that cold. He out there for a reason. And if you can't see that and have compassion for it, then
you
gotta think about that. And people don't even think about it. They just look at the people like they ain't even there.
Yeah, I haven't really known how to comprehend the homeless situation and those interactions, because I guess I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot to think about, right?
And it don't always have to be done in a material way. Just you giving compassion and love and wanting to see them in a better place is bigger than $1.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about literally looking at them like, Lord have mercy, I would love to see them in a better place. And in your mind, you riding off, wanting to see them in a better place, not just riding off and see the next tree, but in your heart, wanting to see them in a better place. Like for real. Like if that was your son, or that was yours, I really want to see them in a better place. I would love to see them do better. Because that's me. I mean, tomorrow that could be you. Because you're no different. They just made a different decision than you made. Yeah. A decision. For whatever reason. So having that kind of compassion, that kind of love for one another, man, it's important. These are the things I practice daily, which keep me grounded.
Yeah. I love it.
I mean, you can't do nothing but love it, man. I mean, it's all about love.
Yeah.
And that's what it all comes down to. It's all about love, bro.
Yeah.
And it starts with yourself and understanding yourself. And then you just kind of like give it off. You cast it off to everybody else. We have this energy that moves. They call it the ether of the universe. You ever heard about the ether? Yeah. Well, that's what connects all of this that we're talking about. All these vibrations and this love. It's not empty. There's a connection for all of this. And people feel it.
Yeah.
They get it. You might not know they get it, but they get it. It's just, it's not shouldn't be a concern. Your concern only is to be given it because you getting it from somewhere.
Yeah.
You feel love from people. I know you do. You don't know where it's all coming from. It's coming from a bunch of different places. But you're not worried about it. You're worried about it that you feel it. And that you're supposed to be giving it so that other people can feel it as well. That's what we're here for, basically. To do the best we can to be the best particle of God. Because we all are God particles. We all here to show the betterment, our better interpretation of what God wants. What's my interpretation of Allah, of God? That's what I'm showing. My interpretation of what, yeah. And that's our whole being, bro. that's the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
We'll finish.
Right. Well, thank you so much for all this.
You're welcome, bro. It's just a beginning, we'll get together some more.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Perfect. Okay, that does it for this week's episode of the Happy Musicians podcast. There's a bit of a story behind what we're listening to this week. So, during a break in the interview, Walter invited me to be a part of the upcoming parade with Crew de Carnaval. And part of what they do is celebrate the important lineage and cultural exchange between Haiti and New Orleans and the rest of the world that happened as a result of the revolution in Haiti and the slaves that were freed and the culture that they spread. And once everyone was getting lined up, the preservation band and a leader in the Haitian community got together to play music. And the queen of the parade was there dancing, and it was beautifully ceremonial. And the thumb piano that you're hearing is this Haitian elder playing. And the music was just so spontaneous, and to see these cultures come together like this was so awesome. And when the music ended, this Haitian elder went to each of us individually, and started with Charlie Gabriel, who's the patriarch of the Preservation Hall Band, and he tapped them on the head and then tapped his heart, and he said, "Thank you for your heart." And it was an amazing experience. I was so honored to be a part of. And this is the music that they made on a doorstep outside of Tipitina's. So I hope you enjoyed this interview. There's just so much to think about. And all I'll say is that I really encourage you to seek out elders in your community and learn about how they live life and what things were like for them in the past, because there's certain traditions that are worth preserving and understanding. And I know that some of the most joy that I've gotten out of music has been from pursuing that knowledge. So I encourage you to do that. That's all I got. I hope you'll see us next week. Thanks for being here. Thank you for your time and your attention. And as always, stay happy.